Good afternoon to you. Mark Sudduth, HurricaneTrack.com, here with your Hurricane Pro and HD video blog for August 29th, 2013. The tropical Atlantic remains quiet today. A couple areas that are outlined with the Hurricane Center's colors that they use for probabilities of development. We see an orange area here straddling the coast of Africa and the extreme eastern Atlantic there, then this yellow area. Both of these probably not going to develop much. They mention in the different outlooks that each system will be moving into an area of less favorable conditions over the next several days. So in the long run, they have very little chance of development into anything significant. This system here might, according to the global computer models, come off and develop up this way out over the extreme eastern open Atlantic and not bother anybody. The western part of the basin over here still is very quiet. None of these tropical waves are able to get through and develop in the western part of the basin, with the exception of the tropical wave that spawned Tropical Storm Fernan several days ago. Off the east coast of the United States, I thought this was interesting. We do have a nice little low pressure area right there, tightly wound. Water temperatures up here just too cold for it to be tropical. And then another low pressure area developing here well to the east of Cape Hatteras. Both of these will zip on off to the north and east. You folks up here in the Canadian Maritimes, you could get scraped by some pretty strong winds and heavy rains as these systems go by. Meanwhile, the tropical Atlantic, as I was mentioning, we have these two systems. This is in the shadow of what we call just the edge of the satellite viewing area, so you just can't see that far east. This is that other tropical wave that was outlined in yellow. And you can tell there's just limited convection with it, a pretty good circulation overall, a large packet of energy, if you will. But for whatever the reason, and nobody seems to know the answer, the tropics out here are shut down. Nothing is able to develop. We don't have any upward motion, no thunderstorms going on. It's not the dry air and instability any longer. The instability is actually running just a little bit above the long-term average out across the tropical Atlantic for the first time in a while, actually. So you would think that we would have a lot of development going on, but you see even the intertropical convergence zone is dead. There's just no upward motion going on. Instead, we have sinking air, and that is why we're not seeing any development. So we know the why, but we don't know the why behind the why. What's causing all the sinking air and the cap put on things out there? Nobody seems to know the answer to that, at least that I've seen. And I've asked some pretty smart people, and they don't seem to know. We'll have to just wait and see. Maybe there'll be some research about it. Meanwhile, in the Pacific, Tropical Storm Juliet, right here along the coast of the Baja Peninsula. Take a quick look at a satellite shot of that region. I think this one would be the best one. A infrared loop of the eastern Pacific, and you can see Juliet there really falling apart, not much more than concentrated areas of showers and thunderstorms. I think the low pressure center somewhere in here. Another possible rainmaker, though, for Southern California and the southwest United States in general. A couple other areas out here that could develop over time, but as we saw there briefly on the eastern Pacific hurricane outlook there, both of these areas 10% and not looking for any further development to speak of from that. So things will stay quiet here on this 8-year anniversary of Hurricane Katrina, August 29th, 2005, a infamous date in hurricane history, as Katrina made landfall first in southeast Louisiana near Buras, and then a second landfall up in extreme western Hancock County, right along the Pearl River in extreme eastern Louisiana, right along the state line there, bringing a record 28-foot storm surge to Mississippi. And of course the levee failures in New Orleans was well documented as to the extent of human suffering because of that. The upshot is hopefully people learned a lot, mitigation techniques, preparedness, awareness in the 8 years since. I think a lot of people respect hurricanes a lot more down in that region. I guess you don't have a choice, do you? Either respect them or move out of the way. So at least nothing like that today. And I don't see anything coming over the next several days. It looks like we will begin September without a single hurricane forming in the Atlantic Basin. And we're getting close to setting a record. I'll talk more about that tomorrow. Again, I'm Mark Sudduth for HurricaneTrack.com. That's my website. little teaser for you, something interesting I'm going to show you tomorrow. Since the tropics are dead, we got to have something to talk about, so figured I'd educate you about something rather interesting. We'll do that tomorrow. Always a pleasure to do these videos for you on Hurricane Pro in HD. Have a great rest of your Thursday, and I'll talk to you again tomorrow.